we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. What is up, South Carolina? How do you do? It's good to be back with you. I am Rob Brown. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate, directly across from me, in charge of all applicable levers, nods, switches, buttons, and other instruments required to do this job. He is the great one, Colonel Grudge, the Alpha and the Omega of ESPN Upstate, the conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show, and multi-time award winner, Lonzo at the helm. What up, Zoe?
I'm waving like a king right now. And you could see that if you wanted to, if you go to the Facebook page of ESPN Upstate, where we are broadcasting live like we do every single day. If you want to see, you know, how awesome Rob looks. I'm all right, but Rob, that's awesome.
I am.
That's a nice color for you today.
You know, I haven't busted out the purple hoodie in a while because I was just tired of the jokes. But then today I decided I will not let you people dictate how I live my life. If I want to wear a purple hoodie, I'll wear a purple hoodie. Dang it. Get off me. The color of royalty, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm looking for the Teletubbies theme right now.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, Lonzo.
Yeah.
That's the kind of the unnecessary, unwarranted smack talk I don't need in my life, all right? I'm not here for that kind of negativity. I'm here for positive vibes only.
You know what? Don't adhere. Do not comply. Do not be the guy who bows down to peer pressure. You be you, man.
Get off me, dog. Get off. Don't come at me like that.
Don't be like me and go buy new shoes so I don't have to hear anything anymore.
Hashtag dad kids.
Don't be that guy.
Throw that one in the intro.
Except you can't anymore because you said these are nice shoes and you didn't say anything about them
Lonzo stepped
anymore.
his game up. Stepped his game
up.
No,
I just went back to where I was before this and, you know, hadn't dealt with peer pressure at work in a while. You think once you become a grandpa, that kind of thing doesn't happen anymore. But you know what? It happens probably your entire life. When I'm in the old folks' home, if I'm wearing the wrong thing, I probably will have to, you know, beg my children to bring me something else because, you know, I probably won't be able to afford anything new. The latest orthopedics are they? Anyway.
The latest orthopedics. Oh. Hey, good day to be Brian Kelly, huh? 10-year, $95 million deal that includes incentives to pop it up over $100 million.
All right, who saw that coming?
Not me. I literally got a text from one of the frat bros last night that said, would Brian Kelly really go to LSU? And I said, not a chance. I said, there's no way. Notre Dame's got him locked up. He's you know, he's one bit of anarchy away from playing potentially. You know, I mean, they could play in a playoff this year, theoretically. If some crazy happens in the conference championship weekend, Notre Dame could be in the Final Four.
They're probably going to make a move tonight, more than likely. I mean, move up a little bit further and get closer to just being one step away from.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to find out tonight, but I think Notre Dame's going to be number 5 when the playoff rankings drop tonight, and so all they need is just a little bit of help, and they could play for a playoff 4. Instead, he decides to bail and head down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
So I want to be the first one to. I don't have the breaking news sounder. I want to be the first one to say that sources say Shane Beamer is being considered for the Notre Dame job.
That seems to be the thing to do around here, huh? Seems to be the thing to do. If there's an open job, Shane Beamer's in consideration for it. By the way, we got a part-time production job down the hall we're looking for. I think Shane Beamer's a candidate for that gig. It's actually some South Carolina fans that probably hope he would be. No, Shane Beamer not being mentioned in the Notre Dame search yet, although his name is gaining steam in the discussions about the potential to head to Norman, Oklahoma and take over the. You know what? This is all part of item number 1. Start the lunch breakdown.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
It's the lunch breakdown of 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever your lunch break amigos are when you sit around the lunch table. Today, this will be the scuttlebutt. These will be the items you need to know before you start talking sports with your pals. Texter says, Lonzo, hey, short, fat boy in purple, where are the other Oompa Loompas? Okay. First off, Texter, Oompa Loompas are not what Lonzo was making the joke about, all right? He was making the joke about the Teletubbies. Second off, the Oompa Loompas didn't wear purple, jerk. The Oompa Loompas wore white overalls over brown shirts, not purple.
I'm trying to recall what the one Oompa Loompa that they made them look like there was a lot of them, and the one with Johnny Depp was in. What color did they wear?
They were red.
Were they?
He's 0 for 2. 0 for 2 on the crack. And on top of all of that, for the record, with your opener of short, fat boy in purple, I will have you know, I'm not short, jackwagon. I'm 6'3". I'm like the tallest dude in this building almost.
Hey, easy with that language.
Jackwagon? I'll say it again.
That's twice.
I'll say it again.
Well, this guy, we don't know the texter, guy or girl. I don't know. They could be like 7'2".
I mean,
so
maybe,
if they are, you are short.
But then you would need to say relatively short, fat boy. Now I'll acknowledge I'm fat, but I am not short. It's all I have going for me is that I can reach the top of the refrigerator. Okay? Which I should do instead of reaching the inside of the refrigerator more often. I'll make the joke for me.
Which is where he puts his special snacks on the top, right in the back of the refrigerator.
Yeah, so nobody else can get it. All right, let's get to the lunch breakdown. Item number 1 from this short fat boy. Item number 1 is college football coaching carousel. Boy, howdy, does the wheel in the sky keep on turning. LSU announces yesterday they have hired Brian Kelly, the Notre Dame coach, 12 years. He is spent at the helm of the Irish Nomos. He is headed now down to Death Valley, Louisiana, where he will take on the same position for LSU. Now, who's in the mix for the Notre Dame job? Well, speculation is the friend of a sports talk radio show host. So I will tell you that one of the top candidates to head now to Notre Dame, and this was a name that was connected with the LSU job before Brian Kelly moved into that office, is Matt Rule, head coach of your Carolina Panthers. Rumor is that Rule is considering or will be considered for the Notre Dame job. There are rumors coming out of Charlotte that he is not happy with the direction his tenure as the head coach of the Carolina Panthers has gone. Both the fact that the Panthers continue to struggle and the fact that there appears to be, at least in my opinion, some front office mismanagement that was created a volatile situation where Christian McCaffrey has missed all but 10 of the last 2 and some change seasons of football and has a contract that will likely drag down the Panthers' ability to add free agents later on in the offseason. So Matt Rule, very much a candidate for the Notre Dame job. Also, we heard from Lincoln Riley for the first time, who said that leaving Oklahoma was a tough decision to make, but it was the right decision for him and his family. I'm going to hang on to this because I'm going to come back to it later, because he said something and had some support from some folks in sports media that really got the goat of a number of college football fans. It's going to tick you off when you hear it, I think, or at least some of you, but it's still true. So we'll address that later on in the show. Also, found out yesterday that Auburn has moved on from their offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo. Mike Bobo, who, of course, you'll remember, was the offensive coordinator at South Carolina, turned interim head coach when they released Will Muschamp, moved down onto the Plains along with new head coach Brian Harsin. That relationship went sour very, very quickly, and Mike Bobo is now out as the offensive coordinator for the Auburn Tigers. We've also got news now that Virginia Tech may fill that position later on, either today or tomorrow. According to Mark Schlabach and Adam Rittenberg of ESPN, Virginia Tech has, in contract terms, reached a deal with Penn State defensive coordinator Brent Pry to become the school's next head football coach. That, according to Chris Lowe, yesterday afternoon. The 51-year-old defensive coordinator replaces Justin Fuente, who was out as the Hokies head coach back on November 16th after his teams went 43-31 in 6 seasons. Pry has been to D.C. for the Nittany Lions for the past 6 seasons, has helped produce top 25 units in total defense in 8 of his past 12, including 4 at Penn State, 3 at Vandy, and 1 at Georgia Southern. The Nittany Lions ranked 7th in scoring defense this season, allowing less than 17 points per game. Those are the big coaching carousel moves and reports that we've gotten since we last spoke to you.
Do you recall a year in recent memory where this has happened so quickly with so many pieces moving around? And the fact that the sports media world has been up with their head in the sand. I mean, how do you keep a secret like this? Like with the coaches that are changing, especially the head coaches?
The Brian Kelly thing, completely punched me in the head.
Well, Lincoln Riley, that was a shock too. I mean, but because of that just happening, you think maybe people will be a little more alert. Okay, what's going to happen now? I mean, that one got biased. The next one's not going to get biased, and then the next one did. Are there more on the horizon? And will people be digging a little bit further now, going, okay, we didn't see that one. We got to get ahead of this.
The Lincoln Riley one, and I told you this yesterday. I said this yesterday, and a lot of people kind of took umbrage to it, I guess. I don't know what the right word would be there, but the USC job is better than the Oklahoma job when USC is at its tops. And Lincoln Riley kind of said that. We're going to break down some of his comments later and address those. But the Brian Kelly one shocked me a little bit, right? Brian Kelly's over 60 years old at this point. A lot of folks thought that he was right now in the legacy building portion of his career, right? Like at this point, he's done enough to recover Notre Dame from the trash heap that Charlie Weiss left it in when he was removed from that office. And you'd have thought that Brian Kelly, getting good money from Notre Dame, would have stuck around to basically rack up awards and postseason appearances to kind of pad that resume for him as an all-time great college coach. For him to go back down to LSU and effectively take on a rebuilding project in Baton Rouge is a little interesting. It is surprising. And that's what makes college football great, right? The surprises. That's what we love. Let's keep on moving. We'll come back to that later on. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. We have got a lot of MLB free agency happening right now. The Detroit Tigers have agreed to a 6-year, $140 million deal with free agent shortstop Javi Baez, according to Buster Olney of ESPN. The deal includes an opt-out, according to the source. It would be the second largest free agent deal in Tigers history since Prince Fielder signed a 9-year, $214 million deal back in 2012. He did strike out a league-high 184 times this season, but Baez also hit .265 with 31 home runs, 87 ribbies, and 18 steals, and also brings a Gold Glove resume to Detroit to play the middle infield. The Cubs selected Baez in the first round of the 2011 draft. The 2-time NL All-Star had been close to signing a long-term extension with Chicago before last season, but the COVID-19 pandemic put negotiations on hold. Those contract talks never resumed. The Cubs traded Baez to the Mets this past July, and now he's a Tiger, but he's not the only one who got fat stacks yesterday, as Corey Seager, the outstanding pitcher, has now joined on with the Texas, or excuse me, I said pitcher, I'm shortstop, has signed on with the Texas Rangers, a 10-year, $325 million deal, according to Jeff Passan. The Rangers looking to capitalize on their new ballpark and return to prominence. They have had 5 consecutive losing seasons, but have committed $556 million to 3 players in the span of a couple of hours after they signed the day before. Second baseman Marcus Semien to a 7-year, $175 million contract, and starting pitcher John Gray to a 4-year, $56 million contract. The 27-year-old infielder batted .295, .364, .501 with 100 home runs in 609 games from 2016 to 2021 and established himself as one of the sport's premier offensive shortstops during his time with the Dodgers, but has also missed extended time on multiple occasions due to injury. So we're going to see more Major League Baseball hot stove talk over the next couple of days. And finally, item number 3. Speaking of Matt Rule, as we did just a few minutes ago, he had his first press conference after second technically, did the post-game press conference after the beatdown to Miami, did his next press conference yesterday afternoon, and was asked point blank, what changes will we see the Panthers undergo between now? Remember, the Panthers are off this Sunday. What changes will we see the Panthers go through before they return to action against Atlanta next Sunday? And Matt Rule, Lonzo, said, none. We're not making any personnel changes right now. We're not changing anything up. We're going to go back to work and play Carolina football. Well, I got to tell you, if what I saw last Sunday was Carolina football, I'd go ahead and say make all the changes because that was atrocious. That was embarrassingly bad. And Matt Rule says, no changes. We're okay. We're just going to do us.
Well, here's the thing. I don't believe Cam could get any worse. And now he gets a couple more weeks to learn the new playbook, to learn some more plays, so he's not as limited as he has been. And, he could be better.
Yeah. Everybody in that locker room could be better right now,
well,
right?
I mean, who are you going to shut down? McCaffrey's gone for the year. If you're done with the season and you think the season's over, who are you going to shut down? You're not going to shut down Cam because he's only there for a year, if that. And you're not going to shut down PJ Walker because then do you have another quarterback? I guess there's probably.
Sam Darnold's been throwing this week.
Has he? Okay.
Sam Darnold's been throwing this week. Matt Rule's asked yesterday, and he said Sam Darnold has been throwing the football, and that when asked about his status to return, he said, quote, we'll see, end quote. Now, that could mean that genuinely we'll see. We just don't know right now. It could also mean that we don't know yet. We don't know yet, and we don't want to commit to anything because, hey, who's to say we don't just bench Sam Darnold the rest of the year, right? Ride Cam and PJ Walker. If you bring Sam Darnold back, remember, you don't have to like it. But despite his poor performance this past Sunday, you kind of got a quarterback controversy, don't you? You got the guy you traded for and are paying a lot of money in Sam Darnold. And then you got Cam Newton you brought back for just this year. Which one of those two guys do you roll with? Or you just go hot hand?
Yeah, but you don't bring Cam back in without all right. You shouldn't bring him back in without knowing there's going to be a controversy. But is there? I mean, after the way Cam played last week, if he does that 2 weeks in a row, is there a controversy? Because if he plays that way 2 weeks in a row, that makes Sam Darnold look like Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, if Sam Darnold comes back and has a game like he did in weeks 1, 2, and 3, there ain't no controversy after what we saw out of Cam.
And they're not completely out of the realm of possibility of making the playoffs. They're not.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not completely out of it.
Are.
Lose one more than possible.
Yes, they are. You got Tampa twice. You got Buffalo. You got New Orleans, who will be healthy at the time that you play them. All right.
So Tampa has not looked good. And
Carolina right now, what's the point spread on that game?
They've lost. They should not have lost to opponents that were technically beneath them, so they could play down to Carolina, and Carolina could still one of those. They absolutely could. New Orleans, I think there's some home cooking there. Just automatically believing that who's the quarterback in? I'm sorry, but who's the quarterback in New Orleans right now?
Right now, what you saw this past weekend, I'm not worried about the New Orleans Saints scoring points. But when their D-line and Demario Davis and the linebackers are healthy, they've caused problems for every quarterback they've played, with the exception of last week when they were missing 14 of 22 starters, and they lost to Carolina back in week 3 when they had 7 starters out and 9 coaches out. I'm not saying Carolina is better than New Orleans.
Right.
I'm saying that in the last 6 games of the year, Carolina's going to have to win 5. And I don't see them winning 5 with 1 against Buffalo, 2 against Tampa, 1 against New Orleans, and Atlanta tossed in the mix as well.
I'm not so sure they need to win 5 because there's only a couple dominating teams and everybody else is barely vying for a wild card. So I still think they have a shot. But if you are the coach of the Carolina Panthers, are you looking at your team right now and going, there's no way we can win any of these games?
No, because you're the coach. But if I'm looking at them as an analyst, yes, they are not making the playoffs. Not without Christian McCaffrey, not with Cam Newton coming in and tossing a pair of picks and going 5 of 21. Sam Darnold was playing average football before, and now he's coming back off of a busted shoulder to do it. PJ Walker ain't the guy. By the way, defensively, where the Panthers were supposed to be good,
they were, yeah.
They have been very average.
Yeah,
they've been
good.
below average.
But, it's another one of those things where I would say time of possession, but we talked about time of possession. And so the defense wasn't out there any longer than they normally would be.
Let's do it this way. Let's have fun. Let's do it this way. Washington beat Seattle last night. They're 5-6. I don't have to ask you if they're better than Carolina. They beat Carolina a week and a half ago. The Eagles are 5-7. I don't have to ask you if they're better than Carolina. They beat Carolina already. The Rams are 7-4. The 49ers are 6-5. There's 4 teams that can win the 3 wildcard spots. We have only gotten through 2 divisions.
Yeah, but at the same time,
the 5-6 Vikings who have already beat Carolina.
You're talking about.
The Washington football team is playing better. The LA Rams are 7-4. They are better than Carolina. The only team that has an identical record or better for a wild card spot than the Panthers that I can't definitively say is better is the Atlanta Falcons, and they square up next week.
We need to take a break, but I'll give you half of those. The other ones you just kind of went past really quick because they're not well.
Who? Washington, who killed?
No.
It's not very often that I'm going to look at Lonzo and go, you're wrong, but you're wrong. We'll break that down. Oh, Lonzo angrily smashed the off button. I'm just doing it for drama, Lonzo. Don't tell him. Gosh.
It did kind of hurt my finger a little.
Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate. Coaching Carousel or Wonka Tunnel, you decide.
Short break. I would not go anywhere.
Okay. Short break, like a minute and a half or like 2 or?
Now we have a minute and a half.
Okay. Well, then I'll go to the restroom next break.
I have to go as well, but I knew that I didn't have enough time to get down there. So.
lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard Offside with Mark Ryan?
Tuesday episode of Offside with Mark Ryan and Diesel County really make it all the way to the national. What is a reasonable bell curve for Shane Bieber in year 2? Plus,
Is it always Super Tuesday? Is there ever kind of an okay Tuesday? Because he always says Super Tuesday. I don't think it's always. I've been there for some of those, and it's not always a Super Tuesday. Saying.
Save up to 60% with Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month. Call 855-438-2999 or visit the store near you. Offer valid for new customers on 2+ unlimited plans. Spectrum Internet required. Savings based on 2-line comparison of unlimited plans from major national carriers as of 9/2021. Prepaid excluded. Restriction applied.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Suffering from junk sleep? The sleep experts at Mattress Firm can help. Shop the Cyber Week sale and save up to $500 on a king bed for a queen price or a queen for a twin. Plus, pair the mattress of your dreams with a free adjustable base with qualifying purchase.
He's not messing around. Real unfiltered sports talk on the Rob Brown Show. ESPN.
All right, so optimism, realism, pessimism. We've talked about the difference between the three many times, right? Optimists ignore the bad for the good. Pessimists ignore the good for the bad. And realists, like yours truly, take everything into account and recognize that more often than not, the truth is somewhere in the middle. So let's take a look at the NFC standings the day after we find out that Christian McCaffrey is no mas for the Panthers this year. On the IR, wrap it up, stick a fork in him. He's done. Can the Panthers still have an outside shot at making the wild card? And my answer is no. No, they can't. They can't. And we can look team by team and see why. All right. Last night, the Washington football team knocked off the Seattle Seahawks. Now, granted, that's not as much of an accomplishment as it has been in years past. The Seahawks are 3-8, last place in the NFC West, and Russ Wilson is not the same guy.
Yeah, and with that loss, that's their third straight loss.
Yeah,
so
they're bad. Okay, they're bad. But Washington has strung together a handful of wins in a row. All right? They are now 5-6. They are currently seated in a wild card spot at number 3. Also out of the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles are 5-7. They are also not a good football team. But remember, the Eagles beat the Panthers straight up. So if it comes down to just those two for a wild card spot, they get it.
How many home games do the Eagles have left? Because they're 1-4 at home right now. So if they have more home games than they have away games, then there's a good shot that they're going to lose the majority of those.
The Eagles have left remaining on their schedule. The Jets, a win.
At home?
That one's going to be at New York.
Okay.
That's a win. I wouldn't care if they played that in a prison cell. They're winning that game.
The Jets have won, 2 games?
2 games.
Right. That means they're capable of winning because it's the NFL.
Take the Eagles. They've got Washington both home and away. They've got, I'll split those 1-1. You've got the New York Giants at Philly. I'll take Philly in that one. And you've got the Cowboys at Philly. I'll take the Cowboys in that one.
Again, they've won 1 game at home. So I'm not being stat guy here, but I am in some ways.
Yeah, they suck at home. You're not wrong.
They're not good at home.
You're not wrong. But that being said, again, if the records remain tied, Philly gets the nod at the tiebreaker because they have played heads up. Then in the NFC West, Cardinals lead that division 9-2. The Rams are 7-4. They're ahead of the Panthers for a wild card spot. The 49ers are 6-5.
You're glossing over the Rams, and the Rams have lost 3 straight. And I don't know who they got coming up, but they've lost 3 straight. So you can't just automatically pencil them in.
Right now, who's better, Carolina or LA?
They're not playing head to head. So
I'm asking you who's a better football
team. It doesn't matter. It's who has the better schedule coming up.
The LA Rams have the Jags. That's a win. The Cardinals, I'll say a loss. The Seahawks, that's a win. The Vikings, I'll let you have that as a toss-up game, but the Rams will be favored in that one. They've got the Ravens. I'll give you the Ravens as an L, and they got the 49ers. So they got
and the 49ers playing really good right now.
Yep, but that one's in LA. That one's in LA. LA and San Francisco will play the very last game of the year. So we'll see. That one may very well be for that wild card playoff spot. Up in the NFC North, you got the Packers winning that division at 9-3. The Vikings are 5-6. Everybody else in that division sucks. The 4-7 Bears, the 0-10-1 Detroit Lions. But again, if it comes down to the Vikings and the Panthers for the last playoff spot, the Vikings get the nod. The problem here isn't that the Panthers can't finish with an identical record to the Vikings, an identical record to the Washington football team or the Philadelphia Eagles. The problem is they've lost to all three of them, and you've also got the Rams and 49ers with better records. Of those 5 teams, only 2 of them have to be better for Carolina to get Carolina locked out. If any of the other teams finish with an identical record, Carolina's locked out. You're right. Is it possible they make it? Yes. But statistically, for me to figure out time travel, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
I don't know. Just because you love science and everything doesn't mean that you can figure out time.
Well, time being the what is it? The sixth dimension. There is the theoretical probability that there is a way and forth to move back and forth across all dimensions, including time. We can move forward, backward, left, right, up, down. There's your first 3. You got time as the 4th dimension. Theoretically, you could move forward, backwards in time, though it is linear.
Well, let's say that possibly you do figure it out in the future, come back and just suddenly have a different shirt on with a different color.
I'll tell you what, if I'll go ahead and commit to it right now. And if at any point I figure out time travel, I will come back and slap myself in the face in 3, 2, 1. Yep, I didn't figure out time travel. So there's that. The Panthers statistically are at I don't know what the actual number is, but I'd say the percentage probability to make the playoffs is about 3. It's about 3. They would need an epic collapse of 4 other NFC teams to try to get in. And all of this is working on the assumption that the Panthers win the majority of their games. I got no reason to believe that they will. You can tell me, Tom Brady's look bad. Has at any point Tom Brady looked worse than the Miami Dolphins?
I am just curious. So a week ago, if we had this conversation, would you have felt the exact same way?
A week ago, Christian McCaffrey wasn't down and Cam Newton hadn't had a 5 for 21 game.
Absolutely. The worst game of his career.
Yeah.
So you don't believe he can bounce back?
Do I think he can back? Not behind that offensive line and not without CMC. Not behind that offensive line and not without CMC. No, he can't do it. And y'all know, Lonzo and I have both been supporting Cam. We're both in Cam's corner. We both want him to have a stellar finish to his career in Carolina. I absolutely do. But playing behind that offensive line, and without safety valve number 1 in the NFL, Christian McCaffrey, no, he can't bounce. I don't think Tom Brady could go behind that team and play good football right now. I don't think Kyler Murray could. I don't think Aaron Rodgers could. I don't think there's a quarterback in the league that could go play without CMC behind that Carolina offensive line and make the playoffs from the spot that they are currently in.
See, I disagree. I think there are a couple quarterbacks. I hate to say it, but I think Kyler Murray could if he didn't have a bad wheel, for sure. He could, because he runs around so much anyway. He doesn't really use his offensive line like he should. And I think Aaron Rodgers can win with any team.
No, I don't think Aaron Rodgers could win with the Detroit Lions.
I think he could.
Tom Brady could.
No, Tom Brady couldn't. Tom Brady has to have everything just a certain way for him. Aaron Rodgers will adjust. It's not about the Tom Brady hate. Tom Brady has to have circumstances exactly the way he wants them. Aaron Rodgers will go into a situation, he'll adjust and make it work. Tom Brady doesn't have that MO.
There's no way the Carolina Panthers are making the playoffs. It's just, you can shut it down, lock it down. I hate to say it. I literally host a show that makes me money for them.
All right.
And I'm losing it.
Dollar bet.
That they make the playoffs?
Yes. Dollar bet.
You make it $100 bet.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. $1.
that they make the playoffs.
Yeah, that they make the playoffs. $1.
Bet.
Okay.
Write it down.
All right. I'll need to write it down.
Put it down
I'll
in
remember.
permanent marker because there ain't no need to change it. Rob's walking out of here, and I'm getting it. And I'm walking straight downstairs and buying a bag of Skittles with it. And I'm going to eat those Skittles loudly in the office.
I don't think you could. Yeah, like you do anything quiet in the office, but I don't think you could buy them. Well, actually, that does bother me. But I think they cost more than $1.
I'm going to find out what your most hated candy is, and I'm buying that with that $1.
I love all candy. The sound that the candy makes, what you were just doing, that does kind of bother me. Not on the air. All right. I changed my mind. The thing you just did, that did bother me.
Oh, man. Can't wait
But
to
you
get
know
my
what?
dollar
It
back.
also
Can't wait to get my $1 back. Texas says the worst flaw in Cam Newton's game is that he has never, ever, ever changed up his account. Don't believe me? Watch this week's game, and you'll see. Ready, hut. He does have a point. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I actually have noticed that in the past. There's rarely a change snap. I do love that you typed it out in all caps. Ready, hut. I think he's saving it up. Like one more chance at the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden the snap count changes for Cam. Let's take a break. Come back here in just a minute. Anybody think I'm wrong for taking this bet? I'm going to go with no. It's a free $1. Do like free money. It's my favorite kind of
you
money.
just get your $1 back, if
Okay.
anything. Yeah.
It'll still be a joyous $1. College coaching stuff when we come back on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate. Let's see. I did hear Tiger's interview, Keegan, and I will be bringing that up later on in the show, without a doubt. Trey says, I love the optimism. You talking about Carolina optimism? Because I am fresh out of it, pal. Oh, yes. Zoe is just a boundless well of optimism. We will be right back. ESPN Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Lonzo. You join us on our Facebook stream at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. You can also follow me and Lonzo on Twitter at twitter.com/ESPN Upstate or on twitter.com/Lonzo on Word. Or you can search The Rob Brown Show on YouTube. Get the live stream there as well. If you got a smart TV with the YouTube app, you can put us up right just like a TV show. We're like all the talking head shows except way more handsome, if you ask me. I feel that way.
Definitely better hair,
Infinitely better
on
hair.
both sides of the board.
True story. All right. So Lincoln Riley said that leaving Oklahoma to go to USC was a very tough decision, but ultimately the right one for him. And I'll be honest, I get it. Right? I tried to tell you guys yesterday, and a lot of you didn't like it. When USC is good, when they are good, harken back to the Pete Carroll days. Yeah? Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Lendell White, etc. When they were good, USC is maybe the best college football job in the country. When they're good, maybe the best college football job in the country, right? You right now, and unless a Cal or, Oregon jumps back up to national prominence, you basically own California as a recruiting ground, and it's one of the most fertile recruiting grounds in the country. And kids from California love to stay in California, right? They love to stay in California. And you get to play football at USC for a lot of them. That's kind of the thing. That's kind of the goal. A lot of other states may have kids that want to stay in state, but you got a lot of competition in the area, right? I mean, even right here, even in South Carolina, you got Clemson, you got South Carolina, you got Georgia and Tennessee, you got North Carolina, you got Alabama and all the other, Florida State that can reach up into this area. California over, and you basically got USC down there. And then when Cal's good, Cal jumps up and grabs a couple of guys. But that area dominates recruiting. USC dominates that area in recruiting. Then you got arguably some of the best weather in America to recruit for. If I'm trying to pick, and this won't be the same way that everybody feels. But if you ask me if I want to go play in the snow like Michigan, Ohio State this past weekend, or if I want my early November and late November games to be sunny and 72 every daggum Saturday, I know which one I'm picking. And this is the hard part. This is why it's when they're good. The LA fan base is very fickle, but when you are good, they are some of the best fans in the country. All right? They are not some of the best fans in the country overall because they don't show up when the team sucks. But when they are good.
So they're front runners.
Absolutely. They're very fickle. When you're good, LA fans are some of the best in the game. When an LA team is good, stadiums sell out and they are loud. When they're not good, they don't. Makes it tougher. But if Lincoln Riley can go out there and stitch a couple of 10-win, 11-win seasons together at USC, Memorial's is absolutely gonna pop back up to what it used to be, to the traditional view that we have of it. No doubt about it. And they're going to throw more money at you than pretty much anybody else. And that's evidenced by the fact that they threw enough at Lincoln Riley to make leaving Oklahoma, which is itself a top 10 job in the country, leave Oklahoma to come there while they are down. If they're throwing that kind of contract money at them while they are down, imagine what they're going to do for them when they're back up to national prominence. Imagine what they're going to do when the boosters buy back in and start dumping millions upon millions into that program. Imagine what they're going to be able to do. When it comes to the whole concept of Lincoln Riley was afraid of the SEC, right? Like, that's what I've heard a lot. Lincoln got out before he had to play in the SEC. I mean, maybe, but I think it's unfair to assume that as a definite. USC can be a better job than Oklahoma. It may not be right now today, but it can be. And one of the things that they've been missing for the past few years is since Matt Leinart, Carson Palmer, those days, they really have not hit on a quarterback yet. Well, who has a better track record of active coaches in college football right now than Lincoln Riley? He's coached 2 Heisman Trophy winning passers at OU. Most of us thought he hit on a third with Spencer Rattler, but Caleb Williams might be that guy after Rattler gets passed up on. He is not going to have a problem upgrading the roster. Listen to this name. Listen to this list of names, Lonzo. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Matt Corral, DJ Uiagalelei, Malachi Nelson, Arch Manning, forget Arch Manning, but Malachi. What are all those names? Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Matt Corral, DJ Uiagalelei, Malachi Nelson all have in common with each other. Do you know?
They're quarterbacks.
And they're all from California. All of them. Which means that if Lincoln Riley had been at USC 2 years ago, likely at least one of those cats is on that roster right now. Is USC better with Bryce Young on the roster? Yup. Better with CJ Stroud on the roster? Yup. Better with Matt Corral on the roster? Yup. Better with DJ Uiagalelei on the roster? Question mark, but maybe. All right, question mark, but maybe. He's going to be able to recruit there. It is a top 5 job in the country. When Pete Carroll was there and Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, Lendell White, and all those great wide receivers were there, USC was the best job in the country. Hands down, no questions asked. Better than Clemson, better than Alabama, better than Georgia, better than LSU. It was the best job in the country. But it fell apart. The second thing that he gets to deal with or gets to work with at SC, and the reason he went there is because USC has its own set of traditions that matter to Cal guys. But recruiting is not the game that it used to be, right? It used to be that you would try to get kids to come because they cared about the tradition and the pageantry. They don't anymore. They care about, am I going to win? And I'm going to have a chance to be the best football player I can be. I heard a guy on one of the Big 12 stations I was listening to yesterday say, you know, when you look at Oklahoma, when you look at Texas, those two teams that are kind of falling apart, you can't recruit on what these guys did back in the 60s and 70s with kids in the 2020s. They don't care. USC's got tradition and all that. But USC's got one thing going for it that matters more than tradition, and that is brand. That's brand. And in Cal, there is no bigger brand than USC, and Lincoln Riley gets to take advantage of that. It makes sense he makes the move. It makes more sense he makes the move than Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame to go to Baton Rouge. Lincoln Riley to SC makes infinite more sense than Brian Kelly does to LSU. Brian Kelly's a guy who's a proven winner. He has built Notre Dame into a team that's played for how many playoffs in the past 4 years? 2 of the 4 they've been there. Brian Kelly's built something and decided to leave it. Lincoln Riley built something in Oklahoma too. Well, he expanded upon what Bob Stoops built. When Kelly showed up at Notre Dame, Charlie Weiss had left that place a dumpster fire, and he fixed it. Lincoln Riley took over what Bob Stoops built and turned it into something. But if he can build a platform under USC and return them to prominence, that is the best job in the country, hands down. So it does make sense. Now, we'll see where the coaching carousel stops spinning. But anyway, that's where we are today. That's where we are right now. Keegan just said, I read somewhere that USC bought both of Lincoln Riley's homes in Norman for $500,000 over asking price on both. Basically a $1 million signing bonus. Who wouldn't leave? Yeah, if you're Lincoln Riley, you take that job.
Why do you need 2 homes in the same state?
Because you have money and you can.
Okay.
It's not a reason that makes sense to anybody who doesn't have 2 house money. Back after this, finishing up hour number 1 on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate, y'all. No, I bought the one in
Shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you surgery.
They added something. I'm not
Get
going
a
to spoil
free
it.
second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics.
But he won't get out of the stinking car so I can confirm it.
864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772.
This Cyber Monday, Rocket Mortgage is bringing you their biggest sale of the year. On top of your historic low rates, when you refinance, you can save an average of 20% off closing costs when you lock your rate. This means big savings for you at the closing table. You only have until November 30th to save with this great opportunity, the Rocket Mortgage Cyber Monday sale. Visit rocketmortgage.com today to see what you could save, or call 833-8-ROCKET.
The Upstate Holiday Light Show is going on now at Greenville Pickens Speedway. Drive through a nighttime Christmas wonderland as 32 million colors set the sky ablaze, synchronized to the music of your favorite holiday classics. UpstateLights.com.
This view was worth the hype.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes. Untitled, a prescription colon cancer script.
Pardon me.
Hey, man, are you okay? Are you all right? You need medical attention?
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Lead for Upstate Sports Show.
All right, let's put this one to bed. Shane Beamer's not going to Oklahoma. All right, I'm confident in calling that one now. I'll eat it if I'm wrong, but I don't see it. First off, the list of names that I'm hearing Oklahoma is interested in are all names that have some level of accomplishment behind them that I just don't think Shane has yet, right? Like I said yesterday, the part that makes me nervous is the fact that Shane does have a lot of the intangibles that schools look for when they're trying to figure out who the next guy is going to be. He's got previous relationships there. He's already recruited there and recruited well there. Guys on the roster there are guys that he had recruited already. So they already know him. They already know what it's like to play for him, etc. But the one thing that they're going to look for more than anything else is, have you proven yourself with a visor on? And does anybody think Shane Beamer has? Look, they had a great year. South Carolina had a great year. 6-6 for the bowl game was what we declared was the milestone to say this was a successful season. And they did it. And they were a blown Mizzou game away from being 7-5, which would have been great. But has he proven it? And I'm going to go with the answer is no. Not because he wouldn't go, but I don't think Oklahoma calls him. But I could be wrong. I don't think so. Hour 2 is just around the corner. My name is Rob. He's Lonzo. This is ESPN Upstate.
Presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center updates powered by the Score. The season is over for Carolina Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey. He injured his ankle on Sunday.
We have any guests today?
Joe, Julia.
So his year is over. When you look at what has happened the last couple of seasons, he played just 3 games last season, and then he missed 5 games during his previous stint on injured reserve. So at the end of this season, he will miss 23 of the last games for the Panthers. They are going into a bye week. They are going to return to action on December 12th, and they will match up again. Atlanta. Speaking of the Falcons, they do play this weekend as they take on the Champions. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley. With the Rob Brown, DND joining us. And I talk wrestling on the show on a weekly basis. The show that follows us are a couple of guys that think they are too cool. They call themselves the show for men and us the show for boys because we talk wrestling. Mark Ryan is my colleague and the host of that show that thinks that wrestling is not cool, that folks like you just won't get a real job. Would you mind sending a message to Mark Ryan about his view on this business?
Mark Ryan, let me tell you, if you don't think this is a real job, you're participating in it. It's a 24-hour job. You have to look the part, you have to be the part, you have to wrestle the part. Not only that, I do have a real freaking job. On top of that, I'm a wrestler and a dentist, so I'm not sure what it is your quote-unquote full-time job is, but I have to plan a career. So if you're going to talk smack to anybody, I'm the wrong girl to do that to, because I will stick your face right in the mud and stop my foot on your head.
Hey, Greenville, Spartanburg. Catch the Rob Brown Show weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate. It's the NFL on Sports USA, and we're at historic Soldier Field as the Arizona Cardinals fly into Chicago to take on the Bears. The Monsters of the Midway put up points fast, thanks to a choice of deep threats like Goodwin, Robinson, and Mooney.
Touchdown, Chicago! Darnell Mooney!
The Cardinals have a tough runner in James Carter and an explosive wideout duo in A.J. Green and DeAndre Hopkins. It's the Cardinals at the Bears.
Sunday afternoon at 12:30. The NFL plays here on ESPN Upstate.
Warning.
And check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Lonzo on the other side of the glass, both literally and metaphorically, in charge of button switches, levers, knobs, and other required accessories to get us on the air. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We will read them on the air. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word. Love to have you. Can we officially, now for good and forever, can we stop beating up on students who decide that they want to sit out of bowl games, please? Can we just not do that anymore? I am asking because in the last few days, we have now had multiple head coaches who have ditched their school, including one of them who might very well leave a team that then goes to the college football playoff, right? Now, a lot of folks ask me, why would Brian Kelly leave now? Why wouldn't he just hang in there and wait till the end of the year and then sign with LSU? And the likely answer is because making the playoffs would actually make his job tougher at LSU. As he is the head coach now, he and his other coaches can start making their plans for the early signing period that kicks off in a few weeks. He can start getting recruits in there now to be a part of LSU next season. If he was to make the playoffs at Notre Dame, he would not be available until something like January 28th, January 29th, which would put him after the early signing period, which would mean he would effectively have a more difficult time putting his first recruiting class together. Now, I got to tell you, I think that's dumb, right? But it's his career. Notre Dame squeaks it. Let's say, because I don't even think it needs to be, and we're going to find out tonight, I don't think it needs to be as dramatic as Houston must beat Cincinnati for Notre Dame to jump Cincinnati. I really think that Notre Dame has done enough the past few weeks that theoretically speaking, if Houston takes Cincinnati down to the wire, right? Down to the wire, the playoff committee might jump Notre Dame over Cincinnati for the 4th spot. Might. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying they might. But Brian Kelly knows that if he takes off now, he can go ahead and start his recruiting pitches for the early signing period. Try to keep some, because LSU did not have a terrible recruiting class signed up. Try to keep as many of those kids to play for him as he can. Now, back to the original point. Brian Kelly leaves his team just a handful of days, really hours, before they find out if they might be playing for a national championship, right? Because if they're 5 and Cincinnati's 4, and Cincinnati does anything less than beat the brakes off of Houston, then I can see Notre Dame jumping Cincinnati. Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma's got a bowl game coming up. Did he stick with his team through the bowl game and show how much it matters to him and how much he cares? No, he bailed for USC, which again, I think was the correct decision overall. Stop beating up kids when they decide not to play in bowl games, right? Stop attacking them. They're not doing anything worse than what all of these coaches are doing. Virginia Tech's defensive coordinator is bailing, Penn State's defensive coordinator is bailing to head to Virginia Tech. You got front offices that are firing the Justin Fuentes of the world before they play a bowl game. The point is that this kind of thing happens at every level in college football. Every level at college football. And yet, for some reason, the kids get piled on when they go, now, you know what? I want to make sure that my future is as set up for success as it can be. When Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley do that, we all go, well, that makes sense. Going to get more money. Going to have a more comfortable job, whatever the case might be. Going to get his chance to move from coordinator to head coach. When they say this was about my future, we all go, that's cool. I get it. That makes sense. But when a kid does it and says, I'm going to take some extra time to get draft ready. I'm going to take some time to get my health back up before next season, take the extra time off, etc. All of a sudden, they're bad competitors and they're disloyal and they don't care about the school or the promises they made. I think we got to lay off of that now, right? Like, I know I have, it seems like I have the discussion every year because every year this kind of stuff happens in the coaching carousel. But I think this year, especially with guys like Lincoln Riley, who has had massive success at Oklahoma, Brian Kelly, who's had massive success at Notre Dame, with those guys ditching and bailing and moving on to the next job, I think it's okay to ease up on kids who go, I don't really care about the bowl games because, y'all, the bowl games don't matter. They don't.
Do you like changing your mind? I don't. I don't like changing my mind unless it's something that I'm suddenly enlightened on, and then I'm like, okay, I just didn't see that. So, and now I understand. Well, I'm changing my mind and my stance on this. In the past, I've been very upset about kids not finishing out their season as far as the bowls go, but they're employees now. Thanks to NIL, they're employees. So, I mean, they're looking at their next job and they're deciding, you know what? I've already put my 2 weeks in. I'm just not showing up for the last week. I'm just going to go ahead and go to my new job. So I don't have a problem with it anymore. I used to. It used to matter. But thanks to NIL, it doesn't matter anymore. They're not student athletes. They're paid employees. And they've decided that they want to move on to their next job. So, okay.
I'm going to say a couple things. Number one, no, I love changing my mind. When my mind is, when I'm given a reason to change it, right? Like, I think there's this stigma that changing your mind about something is bad. No, changing your mind is good. Changing your mind's a good thing. It means you're evolving your viewpoints, which you should do. But no, employees are not paid, or athletes are not paid employees of schools. The schools don't pay them. They don't work for the school.
They do because of scholarships and stipends and all that kind of stuff. I mean, technically, they are employees. If you're given an amount of money for a job that you're doing, you're kind of being a paid employee.
All right, let's say
isn't a stipend. You're giving them money.
Let's say they are. Let's say that's accurate. I'm cool with that. For the sake of discussion, for the sake of argument, whatever, let's say that's true. I'm cool with it. Isn't that one more reason not to blast the guy for sitting out a bowl game?
Again, I don't care. You're a paid employee. You're looking at your next job. The reason why they're sitting out a bowl game is because they're looking at the NFL. If what other reason would there be?
No, that would be the reason.
That's usually the reason. Yeah. So, and as a paid employee, which they are, I'm going to keep saying it, whether you believe it or not, they are, and they're looking for the next job, which will be maybe a step up in pay, depending on how good they were in college and how much they got in NIL. I also wonder, when will that become a part of the contract negotiation? If you made more in NIL than you're going to make in your rookie contract, does that ever come into play? But that's something different later on. But I get it. I'm fine. You're a paid employee. You're looking at your next job. Go for it. Because it's no longer about team or anything. It's about, your money. And that's fine. I like money too. So I get it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Trying to get more of it. Every year when the bowl games are, guys, there's 3 bowl games that matter. Like in the grand scheme of things, there's 3 bowl games that matter.
Yeah, and you can get excited about playing in the New Year's, get to play on New Year's Day. If you're not playing in one of the 2 that matter on that day, your bowl game doesn't really matter, except for you get more practice for the young guys, and you get some swag, and you get to go to an amusement park. But if you are doing well in NIL, you could afford to do that anyway.
If I was to ask Lonzo, who won last year in the 2 playoff games, Lonzo could tell me. If I ask Lonzo,
that's
last year, that's 3. That's 3.
Yeah, because it's self-reported.
Yep.
Okay, whatever. Welcome back from vacation.
If I ask you who played in the 2 semifinals last year and who won those games, I bet you could tell me.
Ohio State and Alabama won.
Correct. And they beat Notre Dame and Clemson, right? Then if I ask you who won the national championship last year, of all people, Lonzo, but most college football fans could tell me.
I don't recall.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Who won the Capital One Orange Bowl last year, Lonzo? Hey, you guys can play at home if you want to grab a pen and a paper.
Capital One Orange Bowl.
Who won the Orange Bowl?
What day is that played on?
That game last year was played on January 2nd.
Okay, so that's was that the same day that the semifinals were played on?
Nope. That was the day after. The semifinals last year were played on January
1st. Navy.
Nope. That would be Texas A&M over North Carolina. That'd be number 5 Texas A&M. The first team left out of the playoffs. Number 5 Texas A&M beat number 13 North Carolina. Who played in the Fiesta Bowl? This is another one of those big bowls. Who played in? Just give me a team that played in the Fiesta Bowl last year.
Georgia.
Iowa State and Oregon. Outback Bowl. Who was in that game? Just tell me who was in it. The Outback Bowl. That's another one of the big ones down at the Ray J in Tampa.
Michigan State.
Ole Miss and Indiana. Who played in the Gator Bowl? Another one of the big titles.
Florida.
Kentucky and NC State. Let's go to the big ones. January 1st, New Year's Bowl. Who played in the Citrus Bowl last year?
I feel like I'm failing, but I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not.
You're just representative of 95% of college football fans who have a regular person's memory.
Let's go with Tennessee.
No, it was Northwestern and Auburn. Who played in the Peach Bowl? That's another big one. January 1st, who played in the Peach Bowl?
Georgia Tech.
You were close. That was Georgia and Cincinnati. These are all top 10 team bowl games last year. All of these had a top 10 team in it. At least one, some 2. Bowl games don't matter. Nobody cares about them anymore.
Nobody's kind of general. Nobody except for the players care. The ones that actually go.
I was going to say, maybe the lower tier players, specifically the seniors, it's their last game. Maybe they care.
Or the guy who's like the second stringer and he doesn't have an NIL deal and he really wants that swag.
Yeah. Maybe he cares. But out here in college football landia, out here amongst the people, y'all don't care about bowl games. And you can be one of those people that goes, yes, I do. I care about the bowl games. I care about the traditions, No, you don't. Honestly, if any of y'all.
If you watch it, do you care?
No, I watched every one of these games.
Does watching a game denote caring about it? Because if it does, because there's a lot of people that will watch a game just because it's college football and they don't care who it is. It's a bowl game. They're going to watch it.
I will watch Canadian Football League if it's on and that's all it's on. But
that means you care about the CFL.
I couldn't tell you who's better, the Rough Riders or the Eskimos. I couldn't tell you who's a better team.
Saskatchewan.
The Calgary Stampede. I can name you teams, but I can't tell you who's good and who's not. If I'm flipping channels, there's nothing on late at night, and I come across Canadian League football, I'm watching it. Doesn't mean I care about it. It just means that's what's on. Point that I'm making here.
Do you understand the rules? Because I still,
Yeah, it's like all the same except for the 3 that aren't. And the goalpost is in the middle of the end zone because reasons. Dig it. When it comes down to it, bowl games don't matter. So stop beating up on kids who decide not to play in it. A couple of texts that have come in. ESPN. The next host who comes on has a huge problem with that. Guy is massively anti-athlete. Now, I think that Mark Ryan has an idealist view on the sport.
And I got to say, I used to be right there with him. I used to agree with him.
Yeah.
I was standing beside him, something people don't think I do, but I do on occasion stand beside him, and I stood beside him on that take, but no longer thanks to NIL. He is now alone on that mountain.
Yeah, I think he has, as a lot of you do, a very idealized stance on college football. Like you view it through the rose-colored prism that makes college football all about the greatness, right? It's all about the good. It's all about the pride and the pageantry and the tradition and the rah-rah shish boom bah. And that's cool, man. That's cool. I respect that. There are parts of me that wish I still had that. But I also recognize that at the end of the day, college football is like any other big business. And at the end of the day, when it comes to any other big business, I care about the employees as a major cog in the wheel, maybe the most important one. Sitting out of a ball game? All right, cool, man. I'm cool with that. If your boss came to you and said, hey, I need you to drop everything tomorrow and fly out to California for 2 weeks, a lot of y'all would say no because you can't fit that into your life, and that's okay.
Or in my case, I won't get on a plane.
Or you won't fly. Texas says a student athlete sitting out a pointless bowl game is not the same as a coach bailing early for a competitor, especially when that coach has a chance for the playoffs. I agree with that. I'd be way more mad about Brian Kelly if I was a Notre Dame fan than I would about a Notre Dame fan being, or than I would as a Notre Dame fan being mad at the linebacker who decided not to play in the pointless bowl game.
So if Notre Dame were to make the playoff, is he the difference in them winning a game?
He might be. I mean, he's the one that.
When's the last time Notre Dame was competitive in the playoff?
I mean, they'd be happy to be in a playoff. A lot of schools would.
Being happy to be in it means that, your special teams coordinator can handle that.
Another text says, okay, what if coach player is headed to the college playoff? Same take. Is it okay to bail? I think it's worse whenever a coach leaves in season than a player. Doesn't really set a good example, particularly when you preach team all year long. Look, here's again, I've been called a pessimist. I feel like I'm a realist. Team matters. Everybody's in for team. Everybody wants to be a part of the team and a good teammate and a good team leader.
The way you're saying team is you make it sound like it's a 4-letter word.
It is 4-letter
word.
I know. T-E-A-M. There's 4 letters.
I know. I knew that when I did that, but you're making it sound like it's a dirty word.
No, it's not a dirty word at all. It's not. I consider the team that we have built here at ESPN Upstate to be a damn good one and one I'm damn glad to be a part of. And I think it's shown. Let me toot my own horn a bit, that I will go above and beyond when called on to make sure the team has success. You need me to sit in for an extra few hours? I'll do it. You need me to come in early to do a Zoom meeting with a sales team to make more money? I'll do it. I got no problem with any of that. That's all above. It's not above me.
Listen, I think what you do is commendable, and I believe you deserve a raise.
Thanks, buddy. Me too. However, while I am all in on team here, Guy, if ESPN Chicago calls me tomorrow, and I don't like Chicago, well, I don't dislike. I've never been there. If ESPN,
It's really cold there. I mean, you think
Not a
you're
fan.
struggling in
Not a
here.
fan. If ESPN Jacksonville calls me tomorrow, I hate Jacksonville.
Wait.
I know.
Hold on now.
If ESPN Jacksonville calls me tomorrow and offers me $500,000 to come down and work Jags games, Lonzo, I'm all in the team, Jack, but I'll send y'all a postcard from sunny Jacksonville. And I'll build a house in St. Augustine so I don't have to live there. But the point is, I'm all in on this team, but I'd go because there's money. That's the same thing the guys on the team are doing for the bowl games. Why are we so mad at them? Text says, Rob, not true because we have heard more about U of SC making the toilet bowl game than when Clemson won the national championship. Well, I wasn't here for that, so I can't help you. I don't know if that's true, but I wasn't here for it.
What is wrong with that person? Because I'm sure it's the same one every day. We should probably keep track of that number. I don't do this very often. I really don't, and Rob can attest to this. But I will give you a hug because it really sounds like you need one. And, I don't like the touching and all that, but I'll give you a hug. You need some comfort or something, dude.
It's the story of the prodigal son, right? Like this, you all remember the parable, the prodigal son. You got the dad, and he's got two kids, and one disappears for many years and is just gone, and the other son stays, and he works hard, and he dedicates his life to being there for the family and all that, and life just goes. And then finally the prodigal son returns, and the dad throws a big feast. Throws a big feast for the son that came back.
Not only that, the dad went out to meet him.
Yeah. And the other son who stayed said, wait a minute, I'm in here giving my whole life to this, and you celebrate that guy? Yeah, because he was lost, and now he's found. And the Gamecocks are lost, guys. We expect greatness out of Clemson, right? Like, isn't that what you want your legacy to be? We expect greatness out of Clemson. We expected mediocrity out of South Carolina. They went above and beyond what they were called to do. Clemson didn't.
Yeah, that's what I don't get about this. Carolina went above expectations. Clemson went below them.
Yeah.
If you want us to talk about how, I have no problem with talking about, Clemson expectations, how they weren't met, and how most fans are distraught and put all their stuff away, and they're unhappy about how things went, and they're calling for coaches' heads when they shouldn't be because they've had one bad season. And, all dynasties have bad seasons. But if you want to be negative, I can help you.
He's good at it. Let's take a break. We're back after this. My name is Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo at the buttons. You're listening to ESPN Upstate.
Of course, I believe that texter is actually a Gamecock fan trying to bait me into slamming Clemson just because it's funny. There are places they can go where they can get all the Clemson they want. Still, they make their way back here.
So at the end of this season, he will have missed 23 of the last 33 games for the Panthers. They are going into a bye week.
So Adam Cole plays Halo Infinite. So that means there's a chance that if I was on, I might actually play against him.
So you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard Offsides with Mark Ryan?
Coming up on a Super Tuesday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. Could Cincinnati really make it all the way to the national championship game? What is a reasonable bell curve for Shane Beamer?
ESPN Upstate.
This season 4 of the Upstate Holiday Light Show.
All right, since you wouldn't look, I put my glasses on so I can go and look, and I'm right.
It is him?
It's someone with those.
Or it is a Texas plate.
Yes. It looks like his car. I'll go to any lengths to prove that I'm right, including putting my glasses on. which is supposed to help me with all this stuff, and it doesn't. All it did was point out that what the people said is, how are you driving? What? Not true, Roger. I really don't want to give out hugs. That was just sarcasm. Although I could say, you know what, Roger, a safe space is within my arms. You know, a tight hug from Lonzo is the safest space you could ever have. But man, that sounded creepy. Kind of disappointed that I missed out on the stuffing and dressing conversation.
I mean, are you though?
I'm sure it was awesome. That would go against my rule of actually turning on the radio when I'm on vacation. I don't like to go against that rule. I've gotten more interaction lately on having that bucket on my head than anything else, including other people asking me why I didn't wear it today.
America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on Die Hard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores. We're not here to take part. We're here to take over. Name the best sports talk.
All right, coming up in the next segment, Joe Giglio of BetQL is going to join us to talk some of the lines, some of the bets that he is going to be making this weekend. We got some good ones for you, so make sure you stick around for that. Again, Lincoln Riley headed to USC last night. Notre Dame's Brian Kelly hired by LSU. He will leave South Bend to head down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So real quick, since it's kind of a short thing here, I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but I feel like it's worthy of a mention. Tiger Woods did his first full interview since his car accident back in February. Said he does hope to return to competitive golf, but that he never expects to compete again at the highest level. He said, quote, I think something like that is I think something that is realistic is playing the tour one day, never full-time ever again, but to pick and choose just like Mr. Ben Hogan did, pick and choose a few events a year and you play, around that. You practice around that and you gear yourself up for that. I think that's how I'm going to have to play it from now on. It's an unfortunate reality, but it's my reality and I understand it and I accept it. For a dude that back in late February was looking at the potential like a 50-50 chance of potentially losing his leg entirely, I got to say Tiger sounds pretty good about his returning to play occasionally. That accident happened back in February 23rd in Southern California when he rolled his car over. And again, we thought there was a good chance he was going to lose a leg. He recently posted a video of him hitting a shot from the driving range wearing a compression sock with the caption, making progress. He said, I don't have to compete and play against the best players in the world to have a great life. After my back fusion, I had to climb Mount Everest one more time. I had to do it, and I did. This time around, I don't think I'll have the body to climb Mount Everest, and that's okay. I can still participate in the game of golf. I can still, if my leg gets okay, I can still click off a tournament here or there. But as far as climbing the mountain again and getting all the way to the top, I don't think that's a realistic expectation. End quote. Woods is scheduled to do a news conference sometime today in advance of the Hero World Challenge down in the Bahamas, a tournament that he hosts for his foundation. Tiger may or may not be back, and I got to tell you, it's okay. Yeah, this is the point where you've got to let go of the potential for Tiger to hit all the landmarks that we wanted him to hit as a fan, right? You've got to let go of the hope that Tiger Woods would one day return and claim his rightful spot as the definite GOAT. It's a crap situation. I hate that it happened to him. An unfortunate accident. That being said, he's not going to be the same dude. He's not coming back to be the same guy. And it stings a little bit because those of us who were Tiger fans in our youth, Tiger was the Ken Griffey Jr. of golf, right? We wanted him to take that final step, grab himself another major or 6 and become a somebody. And he just couldn't do it. And it sucks, but it is what it is. Time to let go of the Tiger will be back mentality. We are going to be lucky just to see Tiger play golf again.
Did you believe he was coming back after that, though?
Not after the car wreck, but before it. Before it, I thought there was a chance maybe he can make 1 or 2 more runs to kind of tailor his game to a more old guy style of golf and still go out there and win 1 or 2 more majors. But no, after the car accident, like I said, we were looking at a 50-50 chance of him never walking again. I was going to be happy just to see him be able to have a normal life with his kids.
I was interested to see him when he got older, being on the seniors tour, just to see him
and Phil battling it out into their 70s.
Yeah, I think that would have been entertaining, and that's it's still a possibility if he picks and chooses the way he says. But the fact that he's out there hitting balls at all, with as bad as that accident was, I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Texture says, Rob, losing a leg is a whole lot better than losing a groin. Well done, Texter. Well done.
Do you speak from experience?
Apparently you do. You're the one who brought it up.
No,
that's a thing you've encountered.
The texter did.
Let's take a break. Joe Giglio of BetQL is going to join us in the next segment. We'll take a look at a wacky year in the NFL. See if there's any trends he's picking up with the way things are going right now. You got any questions for Joe Giglio, you gamblers, for entertainment purposes only, of course? Text them to us at 71307. We're back after this. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Roger says it's a beautiful day to be outside working. It looks like it.
It does. It's almost summer again. You didn't know winter's over?
Yeah.
It's going to be like 74 Friday.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Let's go. Don't hate that. Don't hate that at all.
Good day for you to get the bike out.
All right. What I mean is that we all have to deal with joint pain. We all have to deal with more joint pain as we age. And many of us are going to get told at some point, hey, you want that? Oh, none of that was on the stream.
Are you glad about that, or are you sad about that?
Yes.
You know, if that were a lipless can, you would have had a shot at it.
Correct. Or if the soundproofing on the wall didn't stick out, because I could have rolled it up the wall and flipped it.
Although it is a can, if you manipulated the trash can a certain way, you could have bent the can onto the sound stuff and then maybe.
And the trash can slopes.
Yeah.
If it was flat, I probably would have been okay too.
Or what you should have did is turn the trash can completely sideways. Then got the can on the trash can, threw it up in the air, and then turn the trash can over and catch it.
SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month.
Not in perfect health? Don't worry.
SelectQuote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $32 a month.
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential, American General, and others to find you the company with the best rates. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford. For your free quote, call 1-800-507-2266. That's 1-800-507-2266. Or go to selectquote.com. That's 1-800-507-2266. Select Quote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Call 844 GSP ESPN. ESPN and your message to send your
So Keegan sent us
Makes it more effective if you, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm doing my job. Breaking news.
Brought to you by our friends at BetQL. BetQL, get smarter, beat the books, be a better with our friends at BetQL. Thanks, Joe Giglio.
University of Kentucky has announced a contract extension for Mark Stoops through 2027. Every year with 7 wins, contract extended 1 more year. 10 wins, extended 2 more years.
Wow. How about that? Takes a big name off the table, guys. Stoops was considered a big name and potentially, and if you're a South Carolina fan, that's not great news because on the list of guys that would have been in line, or at least in line as far as the interest of the Boomer Sooners go, Mark Stoops was ahead of Shane Beamer. So the thought there was that if Stoops takes that, or if Stoops is interested in that job, that it would make it less likely that Shane Beamer would get pirated out of Columbia. So with Mark Stoops signing a big contract with Kentucky, that opens up the door to make it just a little more likely that Shane Beamer may get that phone call out of Norman, Oklahoma. How about that? I had a fun story to aggravate Lonzo about artificial robots with human faces on them, and I'm absolutely coming back to that.
I was going to say, I've already saw Keegan sent it to me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We're coming back with it. But that's big. That makes it just that much more likely Shane Beamer might get that phone call that a lot of y'all told me he definitely won't. All right, 1 hour left. We'll hit it when we come back on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. Look at this shot. Boom. That is absolutely beautiful work.
Well, if he wouldn't have looked off of balance when he did it, it would have been better. And is he wearing a half shirt underneath that? Was that a sports bra? Is that a dude sports bra?
But it's got microchips implanted that tells you how far the players have run, how fast they've run.
Why does it have to be shaped like a dude sports bra, though? You know it looks like a dude sports bra. It's a sports bra. Sorry, I had never seen that before. That just took away from the shot. Like, what is he wearing?
Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN
The car's gone.
update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Maybe there was a notice handed in. Nothing. I'm eagerly watching my email. Or more than likely, trouble came that person's way and it's heading my way next. Just cause. We're all in trouble. Every one of us.
I'm more prone to injury slowing down than I would be playing I am now.
Great answer. I'm ready to run through a wall. Yeah. Great answer.
Catch the Rob Brown Show weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN Upstate.
This is Brent Venables. No upstate child should have Christmas without presents on the tree. Donate a toy during the Leo Santa Fe drive. Stop by the Bond Wellness Arena in downtown Greenville, December 8th and 9th. Our Greenville County law enforcement will be on hand accepting toys and donations. Plus, see special team demonstrations by tactical teams and our K-9 patrol unit. Help an underprivileged child this Christmas. For more information, go to leosanta.com.
Leo Santa, presented by Rob Inario, attorney at law, 864-CALL-ROB.
With special thanks to Upstate SC Heroes Program and thanks from ESPN Upstate. Morning.
And check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represent Phil Green.
Yeah.
Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN.
And away we go. The third, the final, the best of money hour. The Rob Brown Show starts now. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. You are you. Listening to ESPN Upstate. Thank you very much for joining us. 844-GSP ESPN. The phone number, Texas 71307. On the text line, 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read it on the air. We've had a texter ask a couple of times here whether Brent Venables might end up being the next head coach at the University of Oklahoma. And the answer is question mark? Like, maybe? I've been looking through Vegas odds about who might end up landing what job. Check this out. As of right now, the Vegas odds as far as who will be the next head coach at Oklahoma, Shane Beamer is listed at plus 500 on that line, which means bet a hundo, win 5 back if Shane's the next head coach. Brent Venables is plus 150. He is the heavy favorite to land at Oklahoma right now. Venables has been reported as being in line for the job by a number of OU insiders since Lincoln Riley took off the head to USC. So his name is definitely no shock included in that list. I'm intrigued. Brent Venables, by the way, has been in Kansas recruiting alongside Dabo Swinney. So if there is a chance that happens, it's clearly, it might be news to Brent Venables, because at 12:47 this afternoon, Hayes High School in Kansas sent out a picture of their football head coach, their principal, and one of their high tout recruits alongside Brent Venables and Dabo Swinney. So he is on the line right now, literally right now, out across the country recruiting alongside Dabo Swinney, but yet is still the Vegas moneyline favorite to take that position.
So what if Brent is like, I'll be right with you, Dabo. I need to hang out here for just a second.
Got a phone call, got to answer.
Yeah. And he stays with the recruit and goes, Clemson's nice, but you know what's better?
Norman, Oklahoma.
That's right.
Texture says if Brent Venables leaves Clemson, they are in big trouble.
Yeah, there are Clemson fans out there with their hands in their ears going, no, because has kept them in games and kept them however relevant they've been in the ACC. And without Brent Venables, I do have another question, though, and this is very important to me and to a lot of people. If Brent Venables goes, does he take his get-back coach with him? Because, that dude has been with him. I believe it's been the same guy the entire time. He understands the moves. He understands sometimes coach might try to get away, and he's always there to pull him, to yank him right back onto the sideline. Do you take that guy with you?
I literally saw minutes ago an article written about that. Like literally that. I'm trying to see if I can go back and find it. Hey, here it is. Adam, his name ironically is Smotherman. Looks like Adam Smotherman.
It's born to do this job.
Like that's the picture that went with it.
Yeah, and look, it takes some effort. I mean, he's got to put some effort into it.
Some work into it.
He does. Yeah.
Can I? All right. can I just say real quick that the concept of a get back coach, like that I do not want to have money to pay one guy whose job is to keep his fingers in the belt hole of my coach. Hey, coach, you ask your players to obey the rules of the game every snap. If you are too impulsive to stop yourself from running on the field, against the rules of the game that you ask your players to uphold every single snap, that's on you, bro. Like, get back coach is the dumbest thing in football.
Yeah. No matter how good of a coach you are, I think if I'm the head coach and you keep getting penalties because you keep doing that, I think you lose your job. If you cannot contain yourself, if you cannot control that, you have to have someone there, an accountability guy to keep you from crossing a line. It's a line, it's a big one.
A no holding coach who plays with the snap behind them, and if they go to hold, they slap their hands down.
Yes.
That's the
Don't you do that.
Texter says, can we just comment on the fact that it's absolutely absurd that an adult coach can't control himself? It's a ridiculous concept. It really is.
If they could put like some little shockers in the sneakers, like right, if a toe goes over the line, he gets a little bit of a.
It's like it's like the line at a bowling alley, right? Like,
Exactly.
Texter says, if Venables goes to OU, is it possible that Oklahoma defense coordinator Alex Grinch, who's also a highly rated DC, goes Clemson? Alex Grinch is already signed to go with Lincoln Riley to USC, so he's off the table. So if Brent Venables goes to Oklahoma as the head coach, Clemson's got to find a new defensive coordinator, and one of the biggest names in the game, Penn State's defensive coordinator, has just signed to be the head coach at Virginia Tech. So you're already behind the 8 ball there.
The other thing is, if Venables does go, does he take any of his defensive coaches with him?
Who goes with him? It would not be a fantastic situation for Clemson if Brent Venables takes this job.
And I hope, if you're a Clemson fan, that you wish your coach well. He's done a whole lot for you, and he has said that he's waited for the right job. If this ain't the right job, where is one for him?
Here's the other part that's going to be an issue. You talked about the coaches going with him. There are many reports that a number of Clemson players might go with him, up to and including DJ Uiagalelei.
Hello, transfer portal.
I mean, yeah, that's effectively what it would be. You might have. I'm not saying that is the case, but I have seen names like Breesy and Uiagalelei as willing to follow Brent Venables, which, if that is the case, I kind of find that interesting as far as the whole people come to Clemson for Clemson, not coaches thing, right? Pretty much blows that out of the water. But I have seen some names. And again, it's all speculation at this point.
You're going to get that text from that guy going, why don't you talk more Gamecocks?
This is speculation. There is no better friend to sports writers on the internet than speculation, right? It's what they live and die by. But the rumor is right now that there are a number of players, including DJ Uiagalelei, that may very well follow Brent Venables out to Oklahoma in order to restart their career as well. There's nothing done about it right now. There's nothing done about it right now. There's nothing that is official. There is no report of even a conversation, but keep in mind, and this is another thing I wanted to bring up earlier. A lot of people are mad at Brian Kelly right now because literally 4 days ago, when all this started, Brian Kelly was asked in a press conference, will you leave Notre Dame for another job? And Brian Kelly said no. He said, unless, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's close. He said, unless a magical fairy shows up with a $250 million check, in which case I'd have to run it by my wife, I'm not leaving Notre Dame. My legacy is here. 4 days later, he's the coach of the LSU Tigers for not $250 million. But one thing that I would remind you all.
Magical fairies do exist.
Magical fairies do exist. One thing I would remind you all is the way that these coaching jobs work, right? Because Brian Kelly said that he has not spoken He has not spoken to another school about taking the job. And I actually believe him, right? And the reason I believe him is because the way coaching jobs work is most schools, not all, but most schools hire an outside agency to conduct their coaching search, right? They say, here's the things we're looking for. Here's the personality we're looking for. Go find our coach. And basically, those agencies will then call the agents of the coaches who tick the boxes they're looking for. So it is more than likely that an agency that's running the LSU coaching search, because I do not believe some schools will do their coaching search in-house, but not all. In fact, most don't. But it's probable that an agency working on behalf of Louisiana State University called the agent of Kelly and said, would your guy be interested? Here's the initial terms and we can negotiate, but here are the initial terms that LSU's offering. And that agent would have said, I'll ask. And ask Brian Kelly, here's what LSU's offering. Are you interested? And he'd have said, I want more. And therefore him saying, I have not spoken to another school is still true. It's technically correct, which, as we've noted many times, is the best kind of correct.
It's almost always technically correct.
Yeah.
Because they have people to take care of that.
These guys ain't dumb. These guys ain't dumb. So, and the point that I'm driving at here is when I said a minute ago that Venables is literally recruiting with Dabo as we speak, that doesn't mean there's not a deal getting done. These guys are going to continue to do what they can do to make their job go the best it can until they have another job. For the record, Brian Kelly was on a recruiting trip when he got the call. He was recruiting. In fact, one of Notre Dame's a reporter claimed that he got a text message from a Notre Dame assistant coach who said that his phone binged when he was walking out of the home of a recruit trying to get them to come play for Brian Kelly. He said, I went in there, I pitched him Brian Kelly. When I left the house, my phone dinged telling me that Kelly took the LSU job, and I felt like a blank. That's how this game works, guys. Who was it? Who was the coach? And I'm mad at myself for forgetting. Was it Petrino? Anyway, there was a story a number of moons ago about a coach who was literally at dinner with recruits and that recruit's family when he got the call that he had been offered a bigger job, and he took it, and he literally walked back to the table and was like, thank you for your time. I'm no longer the coach. Have a great day, and left. This is not uncommon. Brent Venables still very well could be Oklahoma's coach. Very well still could be Oklahoma's coach down the road. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN is the number. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN. So Brent Venables is right now the Vegas favorite to end up as the head coach at the University of Oklahoma. A, to believe it, and B, what does it mean for Clemson if he does? Michael is on the line. Let's get a phone call in here. Michael, welcome to the show, buddy. Thanks for taking a minute.
Pleasure. And I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge it's not a fully formed thought, but I've just been thinking about it a lot lately. And hearing you in like the second hour talking about the way coaches are leaving and now players don't need to play in bowl games and just like the moral relativity of it all. You know, like at some point along the way, we just stopped saying no. And we kept, well, you know, there's this. Well, you know, there's that. Well, you know, let's give them a stipend. Well, you know, let's give them an IL. And then just like the loyalty and the tradition and just the way things work, that work, we've had this discussion before, just continues to erode away. And I don't see that we're in a better spot. Like if they're not going to play in a bowl game, do they get part of their scholarship taken away? Like it's like we keep saying, well, you know, to the point where just nothing's sacred anymore. Because now it's to coaches, to players, to nobody. Nobody has any loyalty to anything anymore. And in every step of the way, well, you know, maybe this will help. And then it just continues to go. We're just continuing down a slope of, like Lonzo said, it's just a pro sport. There's nothing. It's going to become meaningless soon.
So there's a couple of things I have here. First off, the concept of nothing sacred anymore. Something being sacred to you doesn't make it sacred to me, right? Like you and I have had this conversation off the air about a very different topic, but because something is sacred to you and is very important to you and very valuable to you, doesn't mean that it is to me or has to be to me, right? Like it's your life, and if it's sacred to you, great. But if if I'm a player and I got a Rose Bowl over here, or a blown out knee away from losing $3 million over here to go to the NFL as a draft pick, I got to tell you, I don't really care how good you feel about the Rose Bowl. It doesn't matter to me. The concept of tradition at schools, right? This is a big one, and I think we've had this talk too. Recruits today don't care about your traditions from the 50s and 60s anymore. They don't care. And you can be upset about it if you want, but it doesn't change anything. You can't go if you are Ohio State, right? You can't go say, well, the great Bo Schnellenberger coached here. A kid born in 2003 doesn't care about that. And he's not necessarily intrinsically wrong for not caring about it. It's up to him what he cares about and doesn't.
I'm not necessarily talking about like school tradition. I'm talking about tradition of just like, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And that doing it is more important than anything else that could be. And like, to me, like this is a societal thing, but like we let it creep into everything. And I'm not saying like Ohio State's tradition should be sacred to you. Just like, is anything sacred to anybody anymore? Will anybody just say, I'm going to do this, and then you do that, and there's no other answer other than you do it?
I don't know, man. I mean,
going away from everything.
I think these kids that are out there playing say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to play. And the majority of them bust it and play for a scholarship and go out there and try to win games. I guess I don't have some sacred feeling about, them finishing a bowl game that in the grand scheme of things doesn't matter. I asked Lonzo earlier, asked him about the 10 bowl games played on the 29th, the 31st, and the 1st, and he couldn't name me a team. And this is not like me digging Lonzo. This is true, I think, of the majority of listeners. Couldn't name me a single team that played in a single bowl game outside of the semifinals and the playoffs. I mean, I get what you're saying. And yes, I obviously, when I coach.
The schools participate in a bowl system. The schools make money off a bowl system. The kids get paid off of that system. They agree to participate in that system. It benefits them. Therefore, they should honor their commitment. And that's it. There should be no. I do understand the first round pick. I get that. Like on his senior year, that's going.
Yeah, and that's a minimal number.
But that's where it started. It started with that guy. Now it's just nobody. Like now it's just like you said, bowls don't matter. Like it went from it, and it always does. It starts from like I said, and then it gets to it's just not important anymore.
So the
And
other
just not saying no. We just don't say no at the first thing. And then just end it right there. Like, no, you play. That's what we do.
I will tell you what. I would be really interested as somebody who behind the scenes loves reading up. I am no sociologist, but I enjoy the concept and the subject of it. I'd be interested to see what would happen to the first college football program that said, hey, if you come to this school, you play in the bowl games no matter what happens, or else you don't get your scholarship renewed. I'd be really interested to see what happens in their recruiting.
I'd be interested to see what happens to those kids in the long term in their life.
Yeah, look.
But I understand. Hey,
go ahead.
I was saying it was a pleasure talking to you. I always enjoy it.
Always, Mike. Thank you, big dog. Good to talk to you, and owe you a beer sooner rather than later. I will say this. I get the concept, Lonzo, of like, we want to develop these young men, not just into great football players, but in great leaders and great men and great students down the line. Randy Shannon was the head coach at the University of Miami for a number of years. Randy Shannon, in his, I think 4 or 5 years that he was the head coach at Miami, Randy Shannon had 0 players arrested at Miami. Thug you, baby. 0 players arrested. And graduated something, Lonzo, like 92% of his football players. Do you know what happened to his job at Miami?
He was terminated.
He was fired because he didn't win enough football games. It is all well and good to go, we want to teach them and grow them into great men with great character and virtue. And that's cool, but that's not what college football does anymore. Maybe it did that in the 60s and 70s. I don't know. I wasn't there. But that's not how the game is set up anymore. You want to do that? Then you make these coaches like Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley finish their contracts that they sign, then hit me with kid didn't play ball.
I think it comes down to, you talk about people thinking about how things used to be and lamenting that. Are you happy with the way things are now? Was it so bad back then? Is it possible to go back to the way it was? Probably not.
But again, like, first off, I don't know that the way it was ever this idealistic concept that's been presented by Michael in the past, Mark Ryan. I don't think it's ever been the way that you guys present it. Like, it used to be all about virtue and commitment. I don't think that's the case.
Just want to say,
At least it hasn't been in my lifetime.
You know, there are times when there's a condescending accent to the way things used to be, and you know, I as an older person, as the elder statesman on this show, some of the way things used to be sucked, but some of them were really good. And you know, the new way is not always better than the old way.
That depends on who the new way benefits, doesn't it? It's subjective. The college athletes think the new way is better, don't they? Of course they do. They think the new way is better.
Until we get, 10 years from now, he was a teenage millionaire. Where is he now? And he's, underneath an underpass somewhere because he didn't learn how to handle his money and things like that.
Oh, and I absolutely think that schools should be setting up systems. Most schools are already doing so to teach these kids how to handle this level of money, et cetera. And I've said this to you before. I'm not taking money away from these kids because maybe you'll live under a bridge later. No, heck no. Don't take money out of my pocket because I don't know how to use it later. That's not your job to worry about. Michael texted in and said, by the way, I extend this to the coaches. Finish your job. Texter says the NFL doesn't care if their potential franchise player plays in a meaningless bowl game. Correct. Another texter says this guy didn't play football. I can tell. I may have been a band nerd. Another texter says it's all about you. You're so special. You're so important. Probably the softest generation out there. I don't know. I would like to take the offensive line from this year's Buckeyes and the offensive line from the 91 Buckeyes and put them together and see who's bigger, better, tougher. I got to guess who wins that fight. That's a lame
but that's
dismissal.
That's about genetics and learning how to lift differently and develop your body. That's science.
And it makes them tougher. Science is good.
No, I don't know if that it makes
bigger,
them tougher.
faster, stronger, better, baby. Science.
Weak side, maybe.
Science. Quick break. Faces and Heels next on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Running back Christian Mccaffrey. He injured his ankle on Sunday against the Dolphins. He has once again been placed on injured reserve, so his year is over. When you look at what has happened the last couple seasons, he played in just 3 games last season, and then he missed 5 games during his previous stint on injured reserve. So at the end of this season, he will have missed 23 of the last 33 games for the Panthers. They are going into a bye week there.
The Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts so you never.
So do you want to take the new training in stereo? Like hit the button at the same time so it's playing on both of our computers? Then we can consult each other on what the right answer is.
We don't condone cheating. We do condone helping.
It's not cheating, it's consulting. If I were to think out loud, I wonder if the answer is number 2, and you were to think out loud, you know what? I think the answer might be number 2. Then there's a consensus. We could, by the way, take it at the same time, and one of us turn the volume down. That way, we're not one person taking it and the other person taking it.
That's true.
That's all. Kickstarts our Hollies and Jollies.
I believe in you, buddy.
This Thursday will be at 502 Ann Street in Pickens. Brought to you by Ingles Markets on ESPN Upstate.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick. The type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera. And the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Another year is coming to a close, and you're still struggling to open and close your old windows? It's done with American-made windows. Don't go through another year with those stubborn, outdated, leaky, and drafty windows. Update and upgrade with our beautiful, energy-efficient windows today. We do expert work quickly and cleanly, so don't wait. Visit amwupstate.com or call 334-6030. And remember, the best windows are American-made.
Good things come in small packages, especially if it comes from Prodigal Jewelers, a local tradition for over 25 years. And as a thank you, the entire store is now 25% off. Prodigal provides a large selection with the lowest prices guaranteed, with free financing and payments as low as $49 a month, backed by a lifetime warranty. Details at SkittlesJewelers.com or in Spartanburg on East Blackstock Road. Tell her you love her. Will Skittles Jewelers.
Want to know what wagertainment is? It's the picks, the analysis, the information, mixed with the laughter and the entertainment. Smart sports betting content that'll put a smile on your face.
The BetQL Network, streaming live each day and helping you bet smarter.
If you're a sports fan, you know why you should listen. It's sports betting content without the BS. No hot takes, no nonsense.
All the insight you need to bet smarter is at BetQL.com. And listen to the BetQL Network, streaming live right now on Odyssey.
If your family depends on your income and something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance.
I just cut out the middleman and don't have a family.
At a price you can afford.
Select Quote found Jacob, 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month.
Not in perfect health? Don't worry.
Select Quote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $32 a month.
We shop companies like Protected, Prudential, American General, and others to find you the company with the best rates. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford. For your free quote, call 1-800-507-2266. That's 1-800-507-2266. Or go to selectquote.com. That's 1-800-507-2266. Select Quote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Suffering from junk sleep? The sleep experts at Mattress Firm can help. Shop the Cyber Week sale and save up to $500 on a king bed for a queen price or a queen for a twin. Plus, pair the mattress of your dreams with a free adjustable base with qualifying purchase.
We the baddies.
Okay, fine. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
It's not because people don't like you, man. You know, it's not because people don't want to give you a chance. It's because you suck.
All right, time for Faces and Heels, where Alonzo and I take some socially ambiguous situations and try to figure out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who's the face, and who's the heel.
I think we've been doing this for the last hour, but you know.
gave birth 4 months ago. I have been obese for a few years now. I was pre-diabetic and had a very high risk of heart disease. Ever since we found out she's pregnant, I've been trying to lose weight so that I can be healthy enough to take care of the baby. I lost 120 pounds and have 30 pounds to be at the normal weight for my body type. My wife has been telling me that me eating healthy food and exercising while she eats frozen or junk food all the time and not being able to exercise due to pregnancy and birth is making her feel insecure and that I need to stop rubbing it in her face. I even tried to make extra healthy food for her, but she said that she does not have the energy or time to obsess about her diet. She told me to stop dieting and exercising for a while. I refused because I find it hard to get motivation, and once I stop, I'll not have the desire to restart later on. She's saying I'm selfish and that she's not asking much from me. Lonzo, I feel you and I are both quasi-qualified to speak out on this. I'll let you have the first crack at it. Pregnant wife says, please stop eating healthy and exercising and losing all this weight. You're making me insecure. Guy, and I feel this in my bones, says, if I stop, I will not restart. Who's the face? Who's the heel?
See, this is very difficult. And I don't recall when we were coming up with this, what the exact rules were. Can there be two faces? You gotta have a face and you gotta have a heel. So
they may remain somewhat ambiguous, but gotta have a face, gotta have a feel, gotta have a heel.
I'm what you're eating. I need to eat this. It sounds like there are problems there before this.
Well, I don't disagree.
Yeah. So he could put things off or do them in a way where it's not in her face, because she's pregnant. She's feeling fat because you put on weight when you're pregnant. You do that. Your emotions are going crazy. There are so many things going on with her body. How far along is she? How much? There's so many details we don't have. He could back off a little.
All right.
He could.
Let me be the bad guy by saying he's the good guy. He's the face. All right. This dude realized that he has a problem with his life being that large and decides, I'm going to fix it. But to undo that, and trust me, I know, Lonzo knows, to undo that, it's work. It is hard work. And you don't have a lot of margin for error in that hard work, right?
No.
You don't. You just don't.
With the amount of weight he's lost, the discipline that he has. I mean,
120 pounds.
Yeah. Putting things off a little bit, you're going to be okay. You're absolutely going to be okay. He just doesn't have to be as hardcore and in her face.
I am going to say, I get where this guy's, because that's how I am. If I decide I am going to do something, I have to do that thing hard now and without a break, because if I stop, it is hard for me to get re-engaged.
Yeah, by the way,
a personality flaw, but it is absolutely my reality.
I have that, and you should know this. I have that same mentality. There were people in the hallway. I heard them with my own ears saying I couldn't do it. And it wasn't a motivational thing. They didn't think I could hear them. One person absolutely said, you know what? You're wasting everyone's time. You can't do this. But he knew what he was doing, because he knew that the same way you are, if someone do this, I'm going to make sure that I get it done. I just think that she should be a little more supportive, but I cannot make a pregnant woman the heel. I just can't do that.
I'm ready to be the ultimate bad guy. This might be the biggest take I've ever had. I will go out of my way to make a pregnant woman as comfortable as possible, but you being pregnant does not mean you get to dictate to me what I eat and don't eat. Capiche? Like you, and a lot of you are screaming, Rob, you've never gotten a woman pregnant. Correct, I have not. But like if I come into your house and you're a pregnant lady and you go, please don't do that, I won't do it out of respect. But like if I am in my house and if we're married and you're knocked up, still my house too, right? Like if I'm eating broccoli and you go, can you not eat broccoli in front of me? Go out, go to the other room. I'm eating broccoli. Get off me. This is not the end of the world. Dude, the person
can also
leave the room because the other person doesn't like the food that they have.
The
like Reese's Pieces, but if I crack one open in the living room, she doesn't get to go, can you go in the bedroom and eat that? Because I don't like them.
Can we go faces and heels on that? Because you're a heel.
I'm not.
If you don't like Reese's Pieces, you're definitely a heel.
Laying down to somebody else over, I want to eat broccoli, is you're not the bad guy.
By the way,
it is not sacrifice when one party is always the one that has to change his habits. I'm kind of tired of that.
You're reading a whole lot into the situation, though, because we don't know what. Okay.
All right, let's get one more in. Let's get one or two more in here. What the heck? I like this segment. Guy says he works a physically taxing construction job and a few months back decided to buy a massage chair. I used to have one of these. They are incredible. Incredible.
We have one. My wife
they're dope.
has one.
They're
yes.
amazing. He wanted one of the nicer ones. The wife said that she would not let him use the joint account money that they have together to buy it. So he said, that's fine. I took out of my part of my income that I keep for my recreation. I saved it. I waited till it went on sale. I bought it. Says that every day when he comes home for the past 2 weeks or so, the wife is in the chair and basically is like, I'm using it. I'm stressed out from the kids. I'm stressed out from the work. I'm using the chair. You can have it when I am done. The guy says, whoa. You told me I couldn't have it. I bought it with my own money. It's in my room and I want to use it when I come home from my hard day of work. It's mine. You may use it when I'm not using it, but when I want to use it, I want to use it. She said that he's being selfish and gave him the I'll never use it again and stormed out of the room. Who's the face? Who's the heel?
First of all, having a joint account and still having to be accountable to, I mean, it just, I don't understand separate accounts either, but she's the heel without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no doubt in this at all. And the thing is, if she's not working, which is what it makes it sound like, she can use that thing anytime she wants. She's doing it on purpose and using it when he comes home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. She's the heel. I thought this one might have a little more heat to it, but it does not. She's absolutely the heel. You told me I couldn't have it out of our money, so I bought it with my money. That makes it mine.
I don't understand.
No, I think it's another one of those new age things. Like I know a lot of relationships and younger people, they keep their finances separately. Like they both pay for the bills they have to pay for, and they keep everything else separate.
Leads to problems. It does. It does.
Rob, here's a couple of texts that have come in. Rob, chill. Your misogyny is showing. Yes, you know Rob, the guy who brings up women's sports on the station more than anybody else. I am a misogynist. No. Texter says, Rob, she's carrying your baby all day, but you can't pick up your food and carry it to another room. Okay, heel. That is not what I said. What I said is, if you are going to tell me what I can and cannot eat, I don't accept that. I don't accept that. Now, I'm not saying I'm unwilling to go to another room and eat.
So if it was reversed and you were on a diet and she's telling you, hey, you're not supposed to eat that on your diet, she can't do that?
No, that's a different situation. If I'm on a diet and I'm eating my vegetarian noodles and single chicken breast with no seasoning on it, and she goes, I want to eat chocolate ice cream, I'm not going to go, can you not do that in front of me? Because it's her house too.
But see, I have had conversations because of temptation when I was going through my big weight loss. It was like, hey, there's some things that I can't eat. Can we just not have those anymore?
Yeah, and you can ask, and that's fine. But if the other person goes, no, I like chocolate ice cream, I'm eating it. All right, well, what are you going to do? No, I'm going to divorce you over chocolate ice cream? Get out of here. You ain't going to do that.
I just want to point out that chocolate ice cream is amazing.
It actually says if a married couple has separate accounts, there's other problems there.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. All right, last one, and then we will take a break. This one comes from a 17. Wow. Somebody give Lonzo an Oscar for that drama. All right. This guy is a 17-year-old male. He says, my mom asked me what I wanted to do on my birthday, and I told her I planned on hanging out with my friends, and my dad was going to take me out to dinner, followed by me spending more time with my friends. A couple weeks later, she told me that her cousin, I think it was her cousin, I can't quite remember, we weren't close, died and his funeral was coming up. I expected it to be before or after my birthday, but the funeral was on my birthday. I got upset and told her I didn't want to go to the funeral because I didn't want to spend more than half my birthday at a funeral with all my relatives being sad and crying, and probably me too, even though I've never even met this person. She told me unless I have somewhere else to stay, I'm going. Besides, he's family, and I needed to go say goodbye. Again, I've never met this guy, so I don't even know who I'm saying goodbye to. We haven't talked since, and honestly, I think she forgot, but I expect her to remind me on my birthday morning I'm going to a funeral. So, face or heel for not wanting to spend his 18th birthday at the funeral of a person he's never met before.
All right, I want to point out that all these situations, both people could be heels, which makes it very difficult, which is why Rob picked this. And here's why. Living in, are you again? You just turned an adult. If you just turned 18 and you're moving out, that's fine. You don't have to go. If you still live in their house under their rules, you'll do what you're told, kid.
I mean, I agree with that, but also that's a really good way to get your kid to resent you, right? He's going to be 18 on that day. He's going to be 18.
Listen, he's already going to resent them for making him go to a funeral for someone he does. I mean, I agree. So chances are there's already resentment there.
I'm going, the kid is not wrong. The mom's the heel. You should say, hey, this is family. It isn't necessarily about the guy in the casket. It's about the rest of the family who is grieving and we being there to support them. And it's important in my mind that we go to support family and show that we are a unit. We're there to support them through this tough time, even if you didn't really know this guy. But also you're 18 and I will leave the decision up to you.
But
and they live with the consequences either way.
But here's the other thing. If you love your mom and she just lost a loved one and she's going through something, maybe she just wants you there for your support. And maybe you should you should be the tell them that. You expect that how you have raised them, that they will notice and go, you know what, Mom, I'm sorry. I know it's my birthday. We can celebrate that tomorrow. You're going through something. I want to be there for you.
I agree with that, but also I'm getting and again, I'm making an assumption here without any evidence, which is kind of contrary to what I always say about everything else. If this is the way she's handling it, and again, I got to take all these stories with a grain of salt. If this is the way that she is handling it, I suspect that he's going, she makes me support her in everything I don't want to support. I want to go spend my 18th birthday with my friends. You turn 18 one time, and that's a big one. That's a big one. Kid is not the heel. I'm not saying he's right, but he's not the heel in this situation. All right, send your thoughts. Do you think they're right or wrong? Who's wrong? Who's right in these? Text us 71307 on the Ingles Market text line. Start your text with ESPN. Take a break. We'll come back. I got one more thing to say about that last phone call we took, and then we get Twitter on the way out the door on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Just landed a sweet catering contract. He needs an event planner to help him rise to the occasion.
Oh, every Friday at 5 a.m. Not a problem.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. InstaMatch instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Trade pros. Whether you specialize in service or new construction, Ferguson knows firsthand how much work goes into a long day on the job, which is why we're committed to offering the products and solutions to get every job done right. With over 1,000 locations, an unmatched selection of specialty products, tools, and supplies, our pro pickup and same or next day delivery, you can trust that doing business with Ferguson will be the easiest part of your hard day's work. Visit Ferguson.com to find a counter location near you.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up, there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell. And engines that can exclusively use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gas. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
Welcome to a place where everyone deserves to be better protected, where technology has your back, where you can have better protection and keep more money in your pocket, where you can have protection for your car, your home, your phone, and even your digital identity. Welcome to a place where your entire life can be better protected. You're in good hands with Allstate. Allstate and affiliates offer products and services subject to availability, terms, and conditions.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're managing your money for life and years ahead with Fidelity Income Planning. We'll look at what you've saved, what you'll need, and help you build a flexible plan for cash flow designed to last, so you can go from saving to living. Fidelity Brokerage Services number NYSE SIPC.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough, and the ones who know
2 for 3 on the day.
together. For the pathfinders breaking new ground, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're a business owner, it can be tough to hire talent for your team, especially if you're competing with other businesses to find the right people. And ZipRecruiter gives you the edge. Next key marketing manager Erin Hargy loves ZipRecruiter invite to apply. She says they get my job posted in front of the right people. I instantly see great candidates and I invite them to apply to my job. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/BART to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/BART.
Brown luck down
All right, last time I'm going to run through this. We may bring it back up tomorrow. We'll see. But here's the deal. Oh, my goodness. Are you wearing my dude on TV is wearing a black jacket with navy blue pants. No, don't do that. You're on TV, man. Black jacket.
You're not talking about the jeans. You're talking about
guy on the right.
Graziano.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, black jacket, navy pants, and brown Come on, dude. Get it together. You're on national television, man. All right. Listen, I understand.
Thank you for tuning in to Rob Brown, fashion
We
critic.
got important stuff to talk about here on the show, all right? So, to address one more time Michael's phone call, because it was a good call. It was a good call. And I know there are a ton of people that feel the same way that Michael does about what we're seeing with, the changes in the way that coaches are jumping around, players jumping around, et cetera. I started the whole show off by saying, if you don't have bad words to say about Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly, I don't want to hear another bad word from you about players who decide to sit out of bowl games, players that decide to transfer, et cetera, because they are not doing anything worse than what Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley have done in the last 3 days. Not a thing worse than what those two guys are doing. And their coaches all over the country doing that right now. This is the hot spot, right? The season's over. A lot of the schools in these talks are not going bowling, so they are officially like done for the season. If you're not banging on the coaches for leaving their commitments, then don't do it to the players, because it is absolutely not fair that you are treating one group of people with an entirely different set of standards than you are treating other groups of players, in this case, the coaches versus the players. Things change. In everything you do, things change. It does not mean that those changes are always for the better. Of course not. But in a lot of cases, what you think is better and what you think is worse is entirely subjective and depends on where you are in the outcome of the situation, right? If the folks in the front office start handing out raises and they only give them to management staff, the management's going to think that's a heck of a good deal, and the company's acting really, 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 they're helping, right? But if you're literally anybody under them, you're going to go, wait a minute, this system's not fair. We're the ones doing all the work, and vice versa. If you're management and the company only gives out raises to the folks on the floor, and you're the management and your numbers are good enough to justify a raise, you're going to go, wait a minute. I helped organize all this to give a raise. Just because the thing has changed or there are benefits handing out, whether it's helpful or not is going to entirely depend on where you sit in the totem pole of how those changes impact. The players for years have been on a much, much tighter set of regulations than the coaches have. The only thing that's changed is now they can do the same thing that coaches have done. There's really, rarely ever been a problem with coaches doing it. Remember when Nick Saban said, I don't know how many times I have to answer the question, I'm not going to be the head coach at the University of Alabama. And then what happened? And very few people bagged on Nick. Yet when a kid sits out of a bowl game to protect his health, all of a sudden he's the bad guy. Nah. And again, the whole concept of is nothing sacred anymore. Yeah, things are sacred. But they can't be sacred unless you subjectively believe that they are. And not everybody is going to agree or has to or needs to agree with what you hold sacred in any context. In any context, what you think is sacred, I might not. And therefore, I'm not going to treat it with the same reverence that you do. Your tradition, I'll give you an example. Clemson fans call running down that hill the most exciting 25 seconds of college football?
Don't look at me to answer that question.
That's what they call it, right? The most exciting. Guys, I've been to about 33 different college football stadiums, and I promise you, that is not the most exciting 25 seconds of college football, except to a Clemson fan. And they're not wrong for feeling that way, and I'm not wrong for saying it's not. Right? That's how this works. Abbreviated Twitter trending topics to wrap up the show next on The Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. Okay.
448-3772. This feature sponsored by Indeed. If your seasonal hiring needs are covered, then you don't need Indeed. Indeed is the smart hiring platform that delivers 4 times more hires than all other sites combined, according to Talent Nest. Post a job and hire ASAP. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Dell Technologies' biggest business sale of the year has arrived. Step up your vision with top tech up to 50% off during their Cyber Monday event. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Plus, get incredible savings on Windows 11 PCs, along with servers, monitors, and docks, all with free shipping. There's also special financing with Dell Business Credit. Get started by contacting your Dell Technologies advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Finding the right Medicare plan may feel impossible, but now it's anything but. With Walgreens Find RX coverage tool, you can compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, making Medicare easier than ever. Easier than picking which true crime doc to watch, figuring out that Wi-Fi password, or putting the duvet cover back on. So if you can do those things, with Find RX coverage, you can definitely Medicare. Find the plan that's right for you by visiting walgreens.com/Medicare.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide.
Oh, you're leaving?
Plan starting at just $35 a month.
Yes.
Samsung Galaxy A30 5G for only $299. All on America's best network. 5G coverage, 5G phone, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable.
I mean, we're going to have like 30 seconds when we come back. So.
Shop on eBay this holiday season to get more for your dough on stand mixers, or get more for your buck on this season's hottest tech and gaming gear. And on eBay, you can even get more Cyber Monday rewind the clock deals. Cyber Monday prices are back for one day only. Get more and save more on premium brands with eBay's can't miss Monday deals. Get more when you get it on eBay.
This report is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need.
Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
There's the rest, and then there's the
You were listening to it because it's over. You're still here. It's over. Go home. That's all for the Rob Brown Show. We're handing it off to Mark Ryan and Diesel for Offsides. Thanks for listening, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you greatly. For Lonzo, my name is Rob Brown. We're back tomorrow to do it all over again and try harder on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Later, brother.